Hey there folks, it's your boy Torpid bringing you a little game here on Greentooth Jungle Redux. Fixed version, where we've got RedRolla who has randomed the Lord General and BeholdenBaton who has randomed the Demon Hunter of the Order Malleus. RedRolla, not knowing what he's going to be encountering so far, is going to be opting for, he cancelled his second guardsman. Perhaps realising that the two natural power points on this map rather, are very natural indeed. So he's going to send out his Sentinel, scout his opponent, see what they are. He sees that the Order Malleus, meta against Order Malleus, is double Kashan Devils, to CC all the melee that they have. So, yeah, probably just going to go for gens now. This would be the safer farm. The equivalent for the red side here would be this one. Already, we see gens coming down for RedRolla as to be expected with his very light opening that he's gone for over here. Two Inquisitorial Stormtroopers and a Strike Squad is going to be the play for Baton. Of course, Strike Squad finding the Lord General here. Lord General is a ranged hero. Can't really do anything against the Strike Squad. Got to get out of there.
So the generator is online.
And Demon Hunter likewise can't really do anything against the Sentinel, which is faster, a ranged unit. But he's just kind of buying time right now. The Sentinel otherwise could be decapping a bunch of his points. The Sentinel could be bleeding the IST, which are incredibly squishy by default. And just take a look at the IST, right? 5 models at 500 HP is 100 HP per model. Guardsmen have 6 models at 600 HP. The Guardsmen are just as tanky per model as the IST. And a Guardsman with a Sergeant, as a squad, is more tanky than an IST with a Sergeant. Just remember that. So what you don't want to do as the Order Malleus is simply trade into the Imperial Guard. However, if you try to overwhelm them with melee, that's when they can go for Kashans, and the Kashan Devils themselves have really good synergy with the Lord General due to the Lord General's ability to give them medic kits to heal them. Medic kits are particularly good with Kashan Devils compared to other units with high models because the Kashan Devils have a very high amount of die last models. Therefore they can get really low on HP and still have a lot of models, which makes the medic kits even more effective. First Kashan Devil is going to be coming out now. We've got operatives coming out for Baton. That's going to provide them with a little bit more range DPS. Maybe that can help focus fire the Sentinel. Maybe that can help focus fire the relatively short range Kashan Devils. But perhaps more importantly, they provide an option to detect IEDs. Something that otherwise as the Order Malleus you can't do because you have no other detector unit. You see right here the IST and the operatives getting the jump on the Kashans means the Kashans have got to get out of there, especially when they've got to worry about being tied up by the Demon Hunter and unable to use their own shotguns to fire back. But IST alone, certainly without upgrades, really don't pose much of a threat at all to the Sentinel or the Lord General, so they just need to get out of there before they can bleed. So good play there from Baton to retreat nice and promptly. Using the Strike Squad to sidecap is really smart in this matchup. I'm not actually sure if the Strike Squad, with their Tomes of Titan, can 1v1 Kashan Devils. That'd be an interesting fight. Operatives here going to ambush the Guardsmen, get rid of them. Of course, they're not fully reinforced, so not that durable. And Demon Hunter did a good job there, just tanking basically. But honestly, Lord General could just go into melee here with DH, given how low the DH is and the fact that it's got Sentinel support. But here's the real problem, double Kashan Devils. So you can see that they drain their energy there, so there's no explosive shot now available for these guys. But these guys have still got it, plus the old reliable. And the problem isn't even the CC abilities, really it's the very high amount of melee damage that they do. Power melee damage, 20 power melee damage per model. So even if you get into melee with them, with the Strike Squad without taking loads of damage on the way in from all the CC and shotguns, it's still going to be kind of tough. You see the shotguns there doing some good damage to the IST, but that was a beautiful impact grenade. With a little bit of pew-pew from the Stormbolters and the last guns going to be pretty impactful here. Do we have a medic kit? Oh, we retreated too early. Look, they've got 6 models and barely any HP. The medic kit would have basically healed them to full, which is Again, a testament to how good those medic kits can be on Kadashan Devils. I'm afraid the strike squad weren't properly in cover there, leading a model to the shots there of the bolter from the Lord General and the Kadashans. Decent sentinel stomp there, hitting most of the operatives in the strike squad, but they've got to disengage. There's a lot of firepower coming out right now, and now the Lord General's bleeding, as only the Lord General can do. Imagine playing a hero that can bleed. And yeah, they're going to push them off, but it does really hurt the Ordo Malleus here in terms of bleed themselves. What did they take? They took not sure, they lost one strike squad, one operative. No, they lost one IST so far. This squad's tanking very well. It helps that the Sarge is at the front and the Sarges die last, so if he's getting shot you're not bleeding models. The damage is getting distributed quite evenly across the rest of the models. This of course is why the Kadashans end up getting so low on HP without losing models themselves. But Baton ultimately here has spent way less resources than RedRolla. RedRolla spent 15, 35, 70, 85, and then what is it, 10 for the Sergeant? So 95 power versus what? 15, 30, 45, 75. So 20 less power for Baton. Not sure if he would have got his gens up earlier or not. Nice combo there with a Rift Tear to make it harder for the Kadashans to dodge the impact grenades, but oh, look at the medic kits, man. Oh, that's fucking brutal. That is brutal. Going to be a nice incendiary grenade here. You can barely see the explosion there in the water, but yeah, look at this. You don't stand and trade with the IG. Certainly not as OM. OM are an Inquisition faction. The Inquisition do not hold large-scale wars on the ground. That's not how they operate. They send their best in, they hit an objective, and then they get out of there. They don't just stand and trade. They don't fight wars of attrition. That's not what they're good at. So yeah, just standing and trading there with the IG in a ranged firefight, even with your fancy little tools, your silly little spells and your incendiary grenades and all this nonsense, your impact nades, it's not good. The IG will always have more bodies. So the OM need to be a bit more clinical than that. Baton, of course, was mostly delaying to prevent the IG just brute forcing their way to the gen farm. Both players are basically arriving at tier 2 in the same position. Now there is a timing window here when you're playing as the Ordo Malleus to get a Razorback out, kill the Rhino, and then be able to bleed all these Kadashans and harass them from afar due to them having lower than average range, even with their Meltgun Sarge. But if you mess that window up, and they just get a Missile Launcher Sentinel, then that can just counter your Razorback, and then you're a bit screwed. The Justicar has arrived here for the Strike Squad, and that's going to boost the HP of all the other Grey Knight models in the squad, and he's a really good fighter himself, so the Kadashans have to get out of there. They don't have their Sergeant yet, which will boost their melee skills so the Strike Squad can't special attack them, as well as giving them a nice extra die last model with a melter gun. Guardsmen now picked up their Commissar and a plasma gun upgrade, so they're actually going to output some decent DPS here. The Commissar is really powerful as a fighter. It's basically on par with a tactical Space Marine Sergeant, yet he's cheaper. And he, of course, lets them reinforce an extra model for free every time they want to reinforce. And he makes the squad bigger. And he can cancel retreat. It's a very good upgrade. Very good upgrade. When you're seeing the change in the... Oh, the Sentinel died. Where did the Sentinel die? I'm too busy talking about the fucking Commissars. I don't even know. Suspect the Melter Bomb Sarge maybe had a role to play in that. So the Sergeant here for the operatives is really nice because it gives you access to that Melter Bomb. I mean, it's a 25% increase in DPS as well, just getting another shotgun. A substantial increase in HP, but also he's die last. So you're going to bleed less when you trade in with your operatives. Interestingly, we've got a Grey Knight Dreadnought here, not the usual Razorback, and I guess it's kind of justified given that he's already killed the Sentinel, so the Sentinel just can't harass it by poking it from a distance with crack missiles and fleeing. We'll see. It's a big map though for a Dreadnought. It looks like RedRolla is attempting to just go straight to tier 3. He can use his Lehman Russ drop global to get a Lehman Russ out both cheaper and a hell of a lot quicker. So I think Baton's trying to punish this with the Inferno Cannon Dreadnought. But as I say, it is a big map, so it's kind of risky. That said, the options for AV right now are very minimal. You do have the double melter gun on the Kashans. Potentially the Lord General can grab a melter gun, and I was going to say you would expect to see a las cannon heavy weapons team as well. A little bit awkward for the Lord General because he's literally just purchased the sniper rifle. He might just keep that. The ability on the sniper rifle giving extra range to the las cannon and the melter guns on these two will be nice. But let's see, can the Inferno Dreadnought get over here, wipe this gen and get out? I mean, we've got the 4 gens for RedRolla. RedRolla clearly going for the fast tech here. 4 gens are the most amount of gens that you want in 99% of situations in Dawn of War 2. Guardsman retreating and executing to gain some distance against the strike squad. You see the plasma is actually doing pretty good damage here against these strikes. These are strikes with the Justicar, so they're a lot tankier than just default strikes. They do brute force their way through there. The Grey Knight Dreadnought though only got 1 gen. He's now getting caught out. No melter guns coming yet. Ooh, he is just about avoiding the line of sight here of the las cannon, but he needs to be so careful. He's getting hit in the back now by the melter gun from this Kashan squad and this one. He can get tied up by the Lord General in melee, and they're going to keep firing. Let's see, this is really tight. Oh, going to hit the las cannon with a smoke to reduce its range, and now the Inferno Cannon Dreadnought is going to engage again, but this is kind of sus. Kashans are still in play. And here you go again, the Kashans are basically countering walkers. Kashan's so strong right now, and honestly that melter gun on the Sarge is so good. But to be fair, Baton made a huge mistake. Why did he not send the strike squad to aid the Kashan Devils? To aid the Dreadnought in dealing with the Kashan Devils? You know, to have a melee asset there. Tie them up so they can't shoot that melter gun. It's a bit odd. The operatives really should have probably dealt with the Kashans there. Weird players there from Baton. Optimistic, underestimating the Kashan Devils, I suppose. And now RedRolla is able to get tier 3 because he only lost 1 gen, so he's still got 3 gens. That's like a full gen farm with this gen over here. And his economy is doing great because Kashan Devils barely bleed. He's got a large amount of requisition here, even when he's only owning 1 requisition point on the map, just because his upkeep is so low. Let's actually compare the pop value. Yeah, you see RedRolla's army right now only 40 pop. It's not fully reinforced though. Let's wait for it to fully reinforce and see where he's at. Versus the 57 of Baton, and that really does play a large role in this. You know, he's got... Oh, is this a rocket run or a barrage? It's just a creeping basilisk barrage to delay the cap. I'm not sure about that barrage. I mean, it delayed the cap for a few seconds. Probably not worth it. But it's not, definitely not worth it. He's tier 3 for God's sake. That could have been a rocket run. And he's going to need the red to call in the Lehman Russ. Unless he doesn't want to use that global, but he's gone tier 3 really fast. He definitely should. Baton's also tier 3 though, somehow. I guess Baton hasn't really been bleeding either, has he? I mean, Strike Squad lost maybe 1 model in tier 2. IST didn't really lose any, and he's had the better end of the map since RedRolla basically skipped tier 2. No war gear yet for the Demon Hunter, just the Sniper Rifle and the Sergeant for the Lord Commissar. Very common upgrades for the Lord General. I just called him the Lord Commissar, didn't I? Might be useful to get the Commissar on the Lord General. A lot of people... Okay, he used the Global to get the Lehman Russ. A lot of people forget that the retinue members do give passive buffs to the squad. It's not just about the abilities and the combat potential of the retinue members. If you get the Sergeant, all the models in the squad get 15% more HP. If you get the Commissar, not only is he actually an okay fighter, it gives 15% more damage to everyone else, which on the Lord General can be quite nice. So then you can actually bleed the enemies with these last guns and the sniper. Ooh. Executioner Lehman Russ. This is interesting. Oh, I was going to say, we're going to see the Executioner Lehman Russ versus the Terminators that everyone's saying are very overpowered at the moment with the side cannon, but we're not going to see it because he's going to go for a Vortimer Razorback. I believe the Vortimer Razorback should outrange the Executioner Lehman Russ, but the Executioner Lehman Russ will out DPS and has way more HP than the Vortimer, so we'll see how this goes down. The combination of the Vortimer plus the Melter Gun, not the Melter Gun, the Melter Bomb. Too many Melters, man. Melter Bomb from the Operatives should enable Baton to navigate around this vehicle, but we'll see. It's tricky when there's Kashans around, and of course this last cannon's still running around too. Oh yeah, we've got the Banishing Cloak on the Demon Hunter, which gives you the Rites of Exorcism ability, which essentially is a magic Melter Bomb. It does spike damage, and it snares a vehicle. It's actually better because it also reduces their damage resistance, aka makes them take more damage from any AV. So there's a rear armor Melter Bomb. But Lord General now going to move in and disrupt those Operatives. The Operatives can't really do too much here. Vortimer Razorback needs to keep moving. It doesn't want to be getting hit in rear armor by that Plasma Executioner. It's taking a lot of damage. But Vortimer is doing a lot of DPS to Lehman Russ as well. There is no fire. There's no fire support for either side here, but also no repair support for the Lehman Russ. Is Lehman Russ going to die? Oh my god, it does. Vortimer Razorback's so OP. Vortimer Razorback just got the reinforced armor plating there. Wow. Yeah, Vortimer Razorback is kind of cracked. I don't know why it can stand and trade so well with Lehman Russ, but it can. Probably needs adjusting because that looks quite ridiculous when that's a vehicle that can travel faster than other tanks, and the Lehman Russ is slower than other tanks. Always hated the change to the Vortimer Razorback to make it not have splash damage, but do more damage to vehicles. What is the plan now for RedRolla? I mean, he has to get another tank. There's no other option, really. Just this time he can't go for the Executioner. He did have other AV tools available to him there in that fight, and he didn't use them, and now he swaps out the Melter Gun, but if he had the Sniper, he could have got extra range on his last cannon and maybe taken out that Vortimer, so he's making mistakes right now, that's for sure. The problem, of course, is when he gets the Vanquisher Lehman to kill the Vortimer, what's going to appear is a bunch of Grey Knight Terminators with a side cannon. And then you don't have your Executioner, so you're not really doing very good damage to them. Nice idea here with a Psychic Fortress. Of course, Kashans just cook you, but they're going to try. So this is a energy drain and a snare, so it's really good against kiting enemies, especially kiting enemies that are energy reliant. But get some nice last cannon hits in here. Honestly, should probably keep the sniper rifles, would be very good right now. The IST getting some more upgrades. They've now got upgraded to Acolytes each. I've not seen the Rites of Exorcism come into effect yet from the Demon Hunter. But here comes the Lehman Russ, getting a good flank on the side here with the Vanquisher. This is going to be the first time, of course, that he sees it, but he misses his first shot. Not from the last cannon, though. That gets a little bit of a rear armor hit, and the next Vanquisher cannon shot gets another rear armor hit on that Vortimer. It will go down to one more, but the problem is, of course, the Vortimer Razorback is really quick. There's no way Lehman Russ can catch it. We're going to see the Rites of Exorcism. I mean, you might as well, just to snare the vehicle. And to do a bit of chip damage. There's only one Guardsman, remember, so make a choice. Do you want to repair, or do you want to cap? Can't do both. Finally, he uses Rites of Exorcism, there you go. A little bit of chip damage. What's that, 83 damage? Is it 75 plus the debuff? No, I don't know, something like that. That maths doesn't sound right to me. Bit of a micro error here from the operatives, not realising there's Kashans there, so they do get detected. Probably wanted to get around the back before they throw in that melter bomb. But the Warhammer needs to get out of there. Needs full repairs. So yeah, Baton pushed back to his base for a while, and that's a little bit concerning for him since he is behind on VPs. Kashans is going to be sent over to deal with the strike squad. Both are level 2. Quite curious who wins that 1v1. I feel like the Kashans probably do, to be honest, but I'm not sure. Well, there's the Lehman Russ coming over, so I'm not going to see that 1v1. A Lehman Russ that apparently can never hit with its cannon. Constantly missing. You see a hit then. Guardsmen better get out of there. They're going to get melted. Of course they can activate their execute to cancel the retreat and stay in play to repair the Lehman. Might want to consider some bunkers. Maybe not. He probably wants Kassakin right now for his own 1-2, even if it is an inferior 1-2 to the Warhammer Terminator combo. At least he gets the high DPS plasma guns on the Kassakin. Crack grenade if the Warhammer gets too aggressive. Maybe just focusing on the supporting inquisitorial troops to kill them fast and proc inspiration to buff the melter gun damage on the Kashans, or the power melee fists could help you. And you won't want your Terminators. Your Kashans in melee with Terminators though. Not with their halberds and splash damage, they would not last too long. We'll see. Maybe if you got the Vox Operator and the Lord General to reinforce them mid-fight. Here we go, so we just had the combination of the Melter Bomb. Oh my god, the Lehman's getting wrecked. Rites of Exorcism plus the Melter Bomb equals 100% snare. Immobilization, you see that crosshair on the Lehman? It means it's taking more damage thanks to the Rites of Exorcism. Another misplay from RedRolla here in that he didn't force melee sooner onto the Warhammer Razorback, so it's just going to be able to disengage from the Melter Stormtroopers. Well, there is Melter Stormtroopers here, but you know what I mean. The Melter Gun Lord General. He's not going to be able to cap the map though, and honestly, VP situation looking quite concerning here. I'm not sure what happened here. Maybe the Kashans tried to do their passive infiltration, which means they won't automatically attack nearby troops, and they got detected by the strike squad and got their ass kicked, because it seemed like they didn't fight back. Terminators need microing. They've got decent range damage with the Storm Bolters, but certainly if they get into melee, they'll kill things faster. Is this an orbital bombardment? Wow. Wow. He catches 2 of his own Terminators. Where's the other beam? Oh, it's over here. That was a absolutely terrible orbital bombardment. Can they... Okay. Okay. Kassakin are trying their hardest to pew-pew down the strike squad. And they go for melter guns, but they're never going to catch a Warhammer. They shouldn't be going for melter guns. This is still just as frightening as the Warhammer. These guys that are practically unkillable. No models killed in the strike squad, so they're going to be regenning. Of course, the Terminator's regenning as well when out of combat. Not good for RedRolla. I think in spite of him having such a tremendous VP lead, he's probably going to lose this. I don't know how he would deal with this right now. Losing those 2 Lehman Russ was pretty rough. I don't know what the plan is here. Nice positioning on the Warhammer, just out of line of sight. Must be somehow blocked by the tree. Oh gosh, that was a brutal smite. Luckily, they do lose a model there, but shouldn't be too big of a deal because all of this is forced off by the Warhammer. Yikes. Really feel like keeping the sniper rifle to increase the range of the las cannon would have been the better play here. The melter guns, I mean, you can't catch a Warhammer Razorback with a melter gun unit. You know, what's going on here? What's he doing? Oh, he's casting Rift Tear in case anything went to go cap the VP. Maybe he thought... I don't know what he thought was there. Maybe he thought the Kassakin would have come out sooner. sure. But you're never gonna catch this Vortimer with a foot troop with short range guns. I mean, it's very optimistic. You know, not unless it's like an infiltrating stormtrooper squad that can just come out of nowhere. Or you go move from the grenade launcher Lord General, which buffs the speed of all nearby infantry. And you can see Kaskin managing to cap very fast over there due to their sergeant. ISD putting up a decent fight in melee here thanks to their acolyte leader, who's a pretty scary melee fighter, but ultimately the rest of the ISD don't really do too much, so Kashans will win that fight, and they wipe the squad. What's going on over here? The last cannon is safely in the back right now. Kashans are zoning. They can CC the strike squad, but they can't CC the Terminators. That's the problem. So the Vortimer's just going to rotate to the side because Kaskin are, as you would expect, beating the IST and did fully cap this point. But now the Vortimer Razorback is ripping them to pieces. Vortimer Razorback MVP for sure. Guardsmen thrown into the meat grinder to try and cap the VP. They do get the decap, but Terminators are punishing them hard for it. Oh, gonna wipe them. They're on the Commissar. Yeah. There's nothing he can do. It was a valiant effort, to be fair, but truly, not really anything RedRolla can do. He needed to keep his Leman Russ alive. It's as simple as that. Losing the 2 Leman Russ was unacceptable when you're going for a fast deck into tier 3, you know? I do think the Vortimer Razorback is OP, though. And of course, Dreadnought Terminators are, but we didn't see that here. There was nothing in this game that was to do with this. These guys didn't do anything that Space Marine Lightning Claw Terminators wouldn't do. Well, I suppose they bleed more with their Storm Bolters. But the main thing that's OP about the Dreadnought Terminators is the Psy Cannon, which is really good at AV on a anti-infantry Terminator variant, but he didn't use the Terminator skill of Leman Russ. It was basically just the Vortimer in combination with the Rites of Exorcism, which, yeah, nice to see the Rites of Exorcism used well. But this thing's cracked. I already had one nerf. I just think it does too much AV damage. I'm fine with it being an anti-infantry asset. That's kind of the point. That it's fast attack harassment on the sidelines, but to just stand and trade with a Leman Russ is absolutely ridiculous. And I know obviously it can't win a 1v1 standing and trading, but just what we've seen it do seems to be an overperformance, given that the Leman Russ is slower than an average tank in the game, and the Vortimer is marginally faster than an average tank in the game. So the Vortimer that should therefore be slightly worse than an average tank in the game at standing and trading. But it's not. It's not at all. And the OM economy just keeps pumping out units. A little bit curious not to see any Force Rod on the Demon Hunter. I think that's probably kind of no-brainer. CC the Kashans, silence them with the ability as well, so then they can't use their old reliable shotgun blast. Could knock over the last cannon if it doesn't have its upgrade for the energy shield. Just knock units off the points when they're capping. And here we go again, we see the combo. Immobilize the tank. Yeah. I mean, no infantry support at all for the Leman Russ. Look, you're gonna go for a fast stick into a Leman Russ, yet you went for a 1 GM build in tier 1, so you know, you put in a lot of commitment into that first initial Leman Russ that you get in tier 3 with your global, and it just didn't work for RedRolla, and then he had nothing because he didn't have the GM to support subsequent Leman Russ. He basically wasted his tech lead, and that's that. The cheese failed, so there you go. Maybe the double Kashans not as oppressive as it's made out to be. I don't know. There you go, and the Vortimer dies at the end, but clearly it was the MVP, no doubt about it. Nice to see the good manners at the end there. That is going to be all from your boy Torpid this time, folks. I'm going to be signing out.